I was in a fetal position. We had a rented house in Venice, and I had grown my hair out. I looked like a hippie. I looked like, kind of a husky Jesus. I was like eating too many burritos on Abbott Kinney, and I looked like a lefty. I smelled like a lefty. I was creating the Huffington Post. I was deep undercover for the CIA. I really was. But I realized that if I had taken that battery of tests, can you go undercover? I would have failed, because I was getting emails from kids that I had spoken to in the previous years, in which they had heard that I'm kind of a true believer in the cause, and they thought I was like the next David Brock. I was like, oh, no. I want to take these guys down from within. But I couldn't take it, so I left. And here's what I think. I knew that it was going to be clarifying. I did. And the first day that it launched, and I was having stomach problems, ulcery type of reaction to the situation. I was driving up Lincoln Boulevard, and I heard Michael Medved on his show read with tears in his eyes day one essay from Rob Reiner. Where are the Woodwards and Bernsteins of today was the article. And he just got such a kick out of what an imbecile Rob Reiner is. And I said, yes, you're now part of the party that I get to be a part of every day in Los Angeles. Welcome to my hell. So I was so happy to have created it, but I didn't like being with these people whatsoever, so I pulled myself out of that operation. And here's the good thing that conservatives can say about the Huffington Post. And I will thank Ariana for doing it in history. Her wiki page is going to look really good historically when this part of the history is told. The Huffington Post ended the falsehood that is called American objective journalism. Because if you take an extract of the DNA from the Huffington Post, the front page, you just go in and you get a top scientist from Chile, and he just peels off a little slice of it and puts it into a contraption, and it comes out with its genome, or whatever the word would be. It is precisely the exact same DNA sequence as the New York Times and the Washington Post. They no longer can pretend to be objective anymore. And what happened, that was 2005 that the Huffington Post happened. And then in 2006 and 2008, you saw an assault by the said objective journalists on the American people. No, not on Al-Qaeda, which they still use should be patented, moral relativism. Who are we to judge these people? But they refrain from this reticence to judge people when it comes to you. And what they do is they make shit up. Oh, excuse me. Did I tell you that we're at war? We are at war with the mainstream media of America, and they're losing. They're in their last death spiral. They're this close to the land. They're this close to the ground. They're in a death spiral. Don't you see it? They see it. They see it. They are in a death spiral, and they're like this. George Stephanopoulos, this close to the ground. No, they're not. They hired Christian Amanpour, who's an objective journalist. They've learned. No. They've got Rick Kaplan. They've got Anderson Cooper. No, they're going to be fine, I promise you, folks. They're in a death spiral. And that is why the media that I am creating is working, because it's not me, it's you. That's not a cliche. That's not an Herbalife pitch. I actually have people working for me for free, and they're regular citizens from all walks of life, not just from Texas, not just from New Hampshire, not just from New York or Washington, California, but Israel, Europe. There are people around the world who are hungering for America to get its groove back. And I have a strong feeling that we're about to get it. And the way that we're going to get it is to learn some basic truths about how we're going to be victorious and the tactics that we have to use against these people. And I will take you through the last 6 months. And we know perfectly well, the first time that I went to a tea party, I really didn't know what I was going to say because I was a C student. And if they wanted me to talk about the Constitution, I was going to start mixing it all up there. And fiscal responsibility, don't look at how I do my books. My private ones, not my public ones, IRS. I have other A students who take care of my business books. But I knew one thing better than anyone that I know, and that is media bias. And so the first day that I went to my first tea party, which was, Lollapalooza, and they have like the main stage and the Beastie Boys are there. I was at the off stage. I live in West LA, and I had to traverse through LA streets to get to Orange County streets. It took me about 3 hours because it was the middle of the day and it was in Santa Ana. And I brought my formerly blacklisted father-in-law, Orson Bean, who's 83 years old, and he loves this country, and he's to the right of me now, and he said he wants to save the country. Then I brought another actor who was in the TV show Alien Nation, Gary Graham. He wants to save the nation. We just walked up there, didn't know what to expect, and we kind of pelted out what we had to say from our hearts. And what I had to say that day was about what I saw in the media over the last few weeks about the advent of the Tea Party. And it was all negative. And when is this? April of 2009? How long has Barack Obama, and how long have the Democrats controlled everything at this point? 3 months? 3 months? 8 years of living in dissentispatriotic.org land, in which the first building ahead of my house, I live on the National Cemetery. Parentheses, that's why I fight. I have people who have died in Afghanistan and Iraq 25 yards away from my bedroom. And I see people my age every week with their children, or at the plots of their children. And so I don't have the luxury to have a post-9/11 mindset. Those guys fought and made the ultimate sacrifice. So if I can play on a BlackBerry all day long and fight this media war, it's the least I can do. And everybody here should take that analogy. We're at war. And if they're going to put their lives on the line, you should put everything on the line too, if you think that this country is worth saving. Where was I? Dissentus patriotic. I am on the north end of the National Cemetery in Los Angeles. On the other end, a mile down, is the federal building where Gary probably would vacation where the FBI is, when he would come into town, leave his surfboard there, and go down to the beach on Wilshire Boulevard. Wilshire Boulevard is the biggest east-west artery in Los Angeles. It's massive. And within 2 weeks of 9/11, and you can Google this, I was there with my then young son Samson and my wife Susie. There was a protest that shut down Wilshire Boulevard, and it was the first signs of what I saw is the active left today and its resurgence. And it was an anti-American, anti-war rally that somehow invoked Israel as well. 2 weeks after 9/11, while they're pulling bodies out, you see the exact architecture of what we're dealing with today. The radical left. They go, goody, a war.